Mark Normand, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be back. What is this, big three?
3, man. Third time.
Third time and 2 from the airport. I come straight here.
Yeah, flying. It's Women's History Month.
Oh, no.
Don't say that.
Wow.
We just exited Black History Month.
That's true. Wow. That was a tough month. Just like, I feel like there's more black on black talk and trash than before.
How so?
Well, you got the Cat Williams, which was like the Black Epstein list, you know? And then, like, what's her face did it? Monique did it after him. I don't know. They just feel, and now, like, P. Diddy is getting, you see all the P. Diddy stuff?
No.
Oh, my God. You got to get on Black Twitter. It's wild.
Blitter?
Blitter, yeah.
What's P. Diddy been involved in?
P. Diddy, Black Twitter would be Malcolm X. All right. P. Diddy is getting called gay and apparently hooked up with a bunch of young boys and stuff. So
He's getting called gay and apparently hooked up. So it's like the R. Kelly 2.0. It's the R. Kelly sequel.
yeah, no urine. Sans urine. But yeah, apparently had like a Bieber moment and an Usher thing and a Meek Mill and all this. So
Jeez.
check it out.
Yeah, I watching that Cat Williams Club Shay Shay appearance made me realize that Black people live in an entirely different universe, like linguistically.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's not a surprise to anyone, but you just seeing that kind of a conversation. You know, when someone comes in, they've got a very strong accent, and you kind of tune
Yes.
the radio in your head. You're like, "Where am I peaking?" And then you kind of hit the rhythm, and you're like, there we are.
Yes, yes.
It took a little while for me to because. And it's not just that; it was references are different, and the cadence that they
Sure.
speak at's different, and the way that they use pauses is different, and the colloquial terms that they use. Everything is so different.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Black people come up with all these terms and lingo, and then we take it like a year later. Whitey will get it a year later, and then we fuck it up, and then Black people are like, we need some new shit. Like, white people are still saying bling, you know, and
so
stuff
we're
like that.
permanently chasing down the cool of Black people. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
But we have our, Whitey has its contribution, like, we'll invent basketball, and then Black people will
Come and be much better at it.
yeah, or like we'll invent a car, and they'll put a rim on it or whatever.
Okay, so you're saying that they're like modding all of white culture and making it better.
Well, better, different, their own, whatever you want to call it. But I think we help each other. There's a lot of like, hey, Whitey steals everything, but like, you know, there's some back and forth.
I understand. What month would you have if you could design one? Ryan Long said that he wanted to have a premature parade, which was for guys that nut too quickly.
Oh, that's right. That should be February. It's the shortest month. That's true. Geez, I don't know. What would I take? I would take premature, maybe a flaccid month. No, I'll go something off dick.
Were you
Sleep in month.
sleeping in month?
Yes.
That would be nice to have a line. Well, I didn't realize there's basically every Friday, every single week is like where the hell am I going on a plane today day for all comedians. That you guys jump on planes, and you know, if I end up texting someone on a Friday, it's just about to. I'm getting on a plane to Phoenix, or I'm getting on a plane to Utah, or I'm getting on a plane to wherever. Like, there's always that. That's it. That's what your Fridays consist of.
Yeah,
Friday mornings.
Totally. Like, I'm here on a Thursday, and this feels foreign. It feels weird to not be on a Friday, flying out. But yeah. By the way, if I'm taking a month, let's go a offended month. Nobody can get in trouble month. So you can just say horrific shit in this month and not get in trouble. That would be fun. Like a purge.
Oh God, yeah. Well, you could do that. That would be nice, even just as an amnesty, like a joke amnesty.
Right.
12 hours, you can say anything you want. No one's allowed to get mad at you.
Although the N-word, it would get out of hand. The first day would be ugly.
Yeah, maybe not. Speaking of Utah, I went to Utah for the first time, and you taught me about Mormons soaking.
Yes. Are we going right into soaking?
Yeah.
I was just in Salt Lake. They still do it. I brought it up, and the crowd goes wild.
Can you explain for the uninitiated? Pull this sucker down a little bit for me.
Sure.
What is soaking?
Soaking is they can't have sex or they can't thrust, so they're allowed to put it in and just hold it there like a gun in a holster. And then they have all these loopholes, much like the Hasidic Jews. They have all these loopholes where a kid can jump on the bed next to them, and so it'll cause a humping movement without actually humping. because the kid was jumping on the bed. It's their dumb religion.
That is the maddest thing. But I didn't realize, it's the first time I've been to Utah, first time I've been to Park City, first time I've been to Salt Lake City. And I didn't realize that coffee isn't allowed.
Yes.
But energy drinks are allowed.
Yes. Loophole.
Tattoos are not allowed.
Mm-hmm.
But breast augmentation surgery is allowed.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so you can get cosmetic surgery, but you can't get a tattoo.
Wow.
You can drink like Newtonic or Monster or whatever, but you can't drink coffee. And there's just, I don't know, I feel like the litigiousness should have been more watertight.
Yeah. Well, I think these rules were made before they thought of Red Bull.
Yes.
So they're like, coffee's out. But you go there and the people are repressed. They're great comedy crowds because I think they're like, oh, he said that horrible thing that felt so good. I can't fuck my daughter or whatever, So the whole thing is wacky. But when you think about it, Sarah Silverman had a great bit about how we make fun of Scientology, but it's just because it's new. If someone brought out Christianity today, you'd be like, wait. She got pregnant without fucking. There's a baby Jesus. Who? Wise men. Don't eat fish on Friday. Whatever it is, it's just new. And I think the same with Mormonism. It's just it seems silly, but it's just because we're not in it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true, that the third largest cash reserves in the world are held by the Mormon Church.
Really?
That someone made them open up their accounts. Maybe there was some investigation, and obviously they're a non-profit or whatever, but just endless numbers of crazy rich people.
Wow.
Mormons and contributing to the Mormon Church. And apparently the Mormon Church basically built all of Salt Lake as well.
Yeah.
So
have you been to the campus, the Brigham Young?
No, what's that?
That's their university. That's the Mormon University. Beautiful campus, ornate, like crazy architecture. Really nice. These religions have so much money. Scientology has crazy real estate in like Clearwater, Florida, and LA. Crazy money.
They're really nice. My assistant is Mormon, and he's phenomenal. He went and did his missionary thing, came back, immediately married, immediately moved in with his wife. I spent Christmas Eve with him and the wife and the parents-in-law at
the
Ripon
Mormon
Cathedral. Yeah.
They're
great.
Nice people.
They're fantastic. Just some weird sub rules.
But what about the polygamy? Is that real?
I don't know. What's they can have multiple wives?
Yeah, well, that was Big Love. There's a couple reality shows about it. I don't know if that's real though. It might be outdated.
I think that they're trying. That there's a current push at the moment to make polygamy be ratified in the same way as gay marriage was, so that you can have like a throuple marriage.
Oh.
That's not something legally that's recognized at the moment.
That's true.
If you get married to two people, three people get married.
Yeah.
That's not, you don't have the same sort of legal protections. And I don't know, maybe this is partway between kink shaming and like you don't know the way that we structure our new world's relationship.
Well, that's the problem now, is if something's new and you push back on it, everybody's like, you're a bigot, you're closed-minded. But that's a slippery slope because now we're getting into MAPS, minor attracted person. Like you just, if you shoot that down, now maybe you look like an asshole and you're like, no, I'm just trying to help kids.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, I think anything that's new, anyone that has any desire and that desire being told is wrong quite quickly gets accused of kink shaming, or it's some sort of judgment on them as a person. And this is definitely not the way that it should be.
Right. Well, progress is good, but people always go too far. They're like, let's see what else we can get away with. We got this, we got that, we got this. Now, how about that? And you go, well, that's crazy. It's like smoking. All right, hear me out there, legs. Hold on. First, it was like, hey, you can't smoke in the restaurant this half. You're like, all right. Then you're like, hey, you got to smoke at the bar. Then it's like, hey, you got to smoke at the outside. Then you got to smoke 10 feet away from the entrance. And it just keeps going. Now it's like cigarettes are illegal. So you got to kind of hold the line at some point. It's good to have progress, but I feel like people get a little power hungry.
Yeah, did you see Google's Gemini thing?
Yes,
that's
hilarious.
Yeah, that's the new like battleground for woke and stuff. I don't know how much that is indicative of Google's underlying woke desires to, trans the entire world and stuff like that. It totally might be. I read the press release where they were apologizing. And
oh, really?
Yeah, the guy put out, it's like, we made some errors, basically. And he's like, oh yeah, no shit. It's the biggest news story in the world from the biggest company in the world that's 90% of the entire planet's search volume, and now everyone is skeptical about whether or not your company's got good underlying principles. So, yeah, and it didn't seem very satisfactory to me. But what can you say? I suppose in that situation, what are you going to say that's going to fix the problem?
I know, but did you hear that they're mad at Elon Musk? Oh, so the guy who invented it got into a fight with Elon Musk and was like, I'm going to do this to get back at him? That's a rumor. Call in if you know what I'm talking about, but that's out there. There's Bill Ackman, and then there's another guy.
Okay.
The other guy hates Elon. And so he was like, let's go all in. Super.
I mean, that's the worst. Whoever designed the optics of that thing didn't really get it right.
But it's a microcosm for what's going on in the whole country.
How so?
Well, it's just like, hey, let's go no whitey. Let's get a lot of diversity, and all diversity is great, and white people have done horrible things, but when you're going inaccurate, that's when we got to cut it. It's like what I was saying before. We went too far. Like, diversity is good, but when you make the Nazis Asian on AI, you're like, well, what are we doing here? Now it's not even accurate. It's one thing to be nice and progressive, but now we're inaccurate.
Yeah, they managed to piss off the left by having black Nazis and the right by having black founding fathers.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah, what if you type in racist? Will it go back to black?
Well, I saw that...
Or Klan member?
They'd been able to make non-racist images actually very racist by saying, show me an image of 16th century philosophers drinking grape juice and eating watermelon. And it was four black philosophers drinking grape juice and eating watermelon.
Wow, that's a nice little move there.
Yeah, they
move.
Talk to me about New York. How's New York doing at the moment?
It's good. I mean, the news about New York is like, hey, there's a migrant eating out your wife at every moment, and you're going to get killed by a hobo. And look, the guys are still jerking off. The migrant thing is crazy. I went to Mexico City for New Year's just to give it back. Like, hey, how do you like it? I got a honky here. But the migrant thing is kind of crazy just because they're getting credit cards and all this stuff. So it's like...
And where are they being deposited?
They're in a lot of hotels.
In New York?
New York, yeah. So some hotel owner's like, oh, fuck. How'd I get screwed?
And who's telling the hotel owners that they have to do this?
I think Mayor Adams.
Right. So this is Manhattan or what?
Yeah. I mean, I think they're spread out, but it's mostly Manhattan. I've seen them come in on buses. It's pretty wild.
Okay, so is it just because there's lots of room in New York because I wouldn't think Mexico border to New York isn't exactly a short trip. It's it's as far as you can get.
Totally. So they're on those buses. It's got to be hell. I feel for the people.
Yep.
But,
that's the worst part of the journey. It's not the dude trying to get you across the state line illegally. It's the fucking 4-day bus journey to get to New York.
Exactly. And it's got to be rough for these folks, but I think it's also, wasn't Texas like, hey, how do you like it? Wasn't that a thing? We're sending you the buses of migrants?
Didn't they put them in? They put them in some really nice retreat, someplace that rich people go on holiday. Martha's Vineyard, and said, we're depositing them all here. And then there was big kickoffs. Yeah. There's this big fight at the moment about whether or not it's a state problem or it's a federal problem. And it seems in the law to be pretty much unequivocally a federal problem. It's like the state doesn't get to choose who comes in and out of the state from other countries. It's like the country first. But then, I don't know, man. It's bizarre that this is happening to New York, which is supposed to be this, like flagship of America.
Yeah.
It's super tourist hotspot. I went to the Bahamas about 6 months ago, and I was talking to the dude that was driving me. Interesting. Bahamas, because it was settled by the Brits and then developed by the Brits. They drive on our side of the road. So they drive on the left-hand side of the road.
Yeah.
But because they're only 30 minutes off the coast of Miami, they drive American cars. So you're driving a left-hand drive car on the left-hand side of the road.
Weird.
Which is a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's all British road markings, British speed limit. It's brilliant, which I like. Anyway, I was asking the guy, the Uber driver, and I was saying, what's the crime like around here? You know, are there any areas that I shouldn't go to? I was in there for 2 days. If I managed to get myself into gang problems, it would have been definitely a me thing.
Yeah.
And he said there is sort of, violence and gang activity on the island, but every tourist should be pretty reliably safe. So, that's interesting. Why? He said, because if gangs do stuff to locals or to other gangs, the police sort of treat them as you'd expect. But if they do it to tourists, they come down on them like a ton of bricks. Because if there is negative tourism information being put out to the world, that hurts everybody.
That's good.
It's completely dependent. But you'd think that the same would be true in New York.
Yeah, well,
it's so dependent on tourism.
But I think the country has got this thing going on now where it's like, we already got you. These people are new, so we're going to be nicer to them. That kind of feels like the general consensus in the world. You know, like, hey, you already live here. These people are new. We got to be nice to them. I don't know. That just feels like it's in the air now, where it used to be the opposite. It used to be like, we're Americans. We come first. And I'm not saying that one is right or wrong, but I do think that it's flipped in society lately. But I think we should send a busload of drag queens to Texas, just, as like a little revenge. What do you guys hate the most? We'll send trans drag queens to Texas just to get you back.
Wow, RuPaul, Texas. That would be interesting. With everyone in a pink, fluffy cowboy hat, like they're on a bachelorette party in Nashville.
Right. Well, the problem is the bail reform. Not to be that guy. You know about this?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, this is bad. So this is the thing where all these people commit crimes and they get out immediately. So like then they'll commit another crime and everybody's like, why is this person out on the street? And you're like, well, they got bailed out. That's a new law.
Who's bailing them?
Bail reform. I think it's if they're not committing a crime with a gun, you can't keep them in prison. Yeah, you haven't heard this?
No.
This is what's fucking up the city. It's more than the migrants or anything else. Yeah, we need JMO here to Google
pull
that.
it up.
Pull it up.
Okay.
But bail reform is really bad. So like if I hit you with a hammer, I'll go to jail and get out that day because it's not a gun.
But if you hit me with a gun,
yeah, if I pistol whip,
might be an issue.
Well, did you hear about the 4 migrants who beat up the cop?
No.
Oh man. All right. Well, yeah, that was a big news story in New York, and they went to jail and got out that day. And then they got out of prison. They're on the news like, we're back out, baby. Fuck all you guys.
Oh, my God.
So it's the morale is low.
Yeah, I bet it is.
In the city.
And what's it like being, day-to-day living in because I presumably, like every time that I go to New York, I just do the full tourist thing. I always end up on Times Square, even if I don't mean to be there. Like I don't really know where I'm going. And you meet people, you're like, meet in the middle of Times Square. Like it's the only fucking landmark that you know.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not you. You're going to be going to work. You're going to be going to shows. You're going to know the routes to take.
Yeah.
So as a felt sense of someone living in New York, how often are you interacting with the downfall of the city?
Not too often, just because I know my route. I know I got my head on a swivel. I've been mugged a couple times already my first year there. So I've got it down pretty good. It's kind of when you got the map open and you got the checkered plaid shirt on and the polo and you're like,
wide eyes with the camera around the neck.
Exactly. Khaki shorts and that whole thing. So that's kind of when you get fucked. But I still love it. Like I travel every weekend and you go to Salt Lake City and it's pretty, but I'm like, there's nothing going on. There's no energy. I'm walking around. There's no one on the sidewalk. I need that part. So I like New York for that reason, and I'll probably never leave.
I arrived during SantaCon, which is like an absolute fever dream.
Yeah, that's wild. And a little offensive to Jews.
Why?
Well, they don't celebrate Christmas, so we're really in their face with it.
Hanukkah-con we could do.
Ooh.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hanukkah-con.
Talking about the Cat Williams thing, I was listening to him speak to Rogan, and he was saying that Hollywood is not really there to entertain you. Propaganda in Hollywood is built into the ingredients list. You're kind of...
Wait, can you translate that?
Hollywood is not really there to entertain you. Propaganda in Hollywood is built into the ingredients list. Basically that...
What does that mean?
That I think a lot of what he thinks is happening in Hollywood is curated narratives in order to be able to deliver a particular message to the public out there. Now, I didn't realize that there's entire well-established law about black guys having to go through this ceremony of wearing a dress.
Oh,
on a movie. Like, this is part of it in order to be able to get a big role. This is complete, like, well-established kind of, almost, it's like taken as a given.
Right.
That the black guys need to do that, apparently. That, like,
apparently,
there's
I don't know.
There's a bag of cash waiting for you. You just need to put on the dress first.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, I can't speak to it because I'm not a Afro-Americane, but I feel like there's black guys who never wore a dress who made it. Are there not?
Well, I hope so. But
Yeah.
I was talking to Ryan about this, and he seemed to like just, it's taken as a given that's in there. But yeah, you're kind of circling some of the more mainstreamy bits. You do like late nighty shows and
Sure.
and stuff. What's the experience? Because obviously you're like straddling independent stuff, comedy stuff, and then mainstream stuff too.
Yeah.
What's the tenor like inside mainstream TV at the moment? Like, what's it like when you like?
It's weird. It's definitely, it's like you said, there's definitely like a message that we have to uphold. And the weird thing about the message, or whatever you want to call it, the narrative, is I'm okay with the narrative. I get it. We've always had narratives. Like in the 50s, the husband and wife had two beds, and they're fucking married, and they have kids, but they have two separate beds. But we all know they're banging, but it's the 50s, you know? So now the message or the narrative is different. But my thing is, you can't even bring up the narrative. People act like there's nothing. They're like, no, what are you talking about? Ha ha ha. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. So we're doing this shit, but we can't even bring it up either? That's where I get fucked up. As long as we can acknowledge it, then we're good.
What would you say to people that say you're seeing racism where there isn't any? Like, this isn't racism, this is just representation or something?
I would say I'm all for representation, but like, you know, some of these comedy festivals, they have to check some boxes. So they'll bring on a black guy who's not that good, but he's black. Right. And you're like, well, there's tons of funny black guys, but you just went with the guy who is black instead of a funny guy who happens to be black. And that's, to me, that's the ultimate racism. That's like a soft racism.
Why would they, is there a subsection of black comedians or black actors and contributors to stuff that happens on TV who push a narrative that is more publicly acceptable? Is that why those guys get chosen?
Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe, yeah. Like Tom Segura has that funny thing where they're like, "Hey, we're looking for like some people of color," and he's like, "Well, I'm Hispanic," and they're like, "Yeah,
not that color.
We need more Hispanic than you." And he's like, "So you're full of shit." So stuff like that, where I'm fine with all the bullshit. You just got to acknowledge it, just so I don't feel crazy.
Well, Francis Foster's Venezuelan from Trigonometry. Konstantin Kirsan is Russian.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've got two guys that are as fucking immigrant-y as you're going to get.
Sure,
but
they don't look it.
No, yeah, isn't that strange? That it's not.
Well, it's all optics at the end of the day. You know, you want to be able to go, look at these guys I booked, and you want to have a fucking sombrero and a guy, with like a poncho on, just because it's easy. It's a crazy image, but we want to, we want a guy in like a dashiki and who's like really black, selling purses. That's what you want. But if you go, hey, this guy's black, and they're like, well, he looks white. You're like, well, he's an albino, but he's black. That doesn't count.
We'll get back to talking to Mark in 1 minute, but first I need to tell you about Manscaped. If you're still using an old face shaver from 4 Christmases ago to trim your gentleman's area, join us in the modern world. There are purpose-built tools for the job, and the Manscaped Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is exactly what you need. It's got a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents, a 90-minute battery, which can help you to take a longer shave, waterproof technology so that you can shave in the shower, and an LED light, which illuminates grooming areas for a closer and more precise trim, or if you're just a particularly crevicey person that likes to do it in the dark. More than 10 million men worldwide trim their most precious area with Manscaped, and you can join them. Or if you need to get the man in your life a gift, or if you just need to hint at them that perhaps they're a little bit hairier than you would like them to be, this is the perfect, socially acceptable gesture. Also, there is free shipping worldwide plus a 20% discount if you go to the link in the show notes below, or head to manscaped.com/modernwisdom and use the code modernwisdom at checkout. That's manscaped.com/modernwisdom and modern wisdom at checkout. What are your thoughts post Shane's SNL appearance? Have you thought about what this means for comedy? What is it, the landmark moment that sort of some people hope it is?
I think it is a big deal. I don't want to be one of these, hey, this is a knife in the chest of cancel bullshit. I don't think it's that profound, but I do think, to me, it's funny because SNL is like, you're out, you're fired. And then 5 years later, they're like, he still said the thing that they hated. So I'm like, which one is it? So it kind of just shows that a lot of this shit is bullshit. Like, you see the Brian Stelter, you know who that is? He was a CNN panelist or whatever you call it, pundit. And he was like, these Republicans. And now he's gotten fired and now he's gone Republican. So it's just kind of funny that like things flip and flop and we can go 100 miles an hour in one way, something changes and we just U-turn and go the other way. And you're like, well, what about all that stuff that you were doing? So it's all silly and we're all going to die one day.
Well, I don't know. I mean, people who change their opinions with the wind,
yes,
it does make you think that they're pretty unreliable. If SNL, and this wasn't, I wasn't really paying much attention 5 years ago when the Shane original thing kicked off, but you just said, what was he on the front cover of? American Life or something?
Who?
Shane.
I think it was like Newsweek.
Right, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that's going on.
It was him, Cosby, Harvey, and Shane. And it was like, what are we doing here?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then you think, okay, so in 5 years' time, I mean, I don't know. It would have been interesting for SNL to have made people understand why they changed their opinion. Because it sounds an awful lot like, well, Shane's more popular now.
Right.
Because it's not, and he's still, I mean, during his opening monologue, he managed to say the word gay, retard, and cracker. So,
and we're all okay. Nobody died. Everybody's fine with the words. We're gonna be all right. Well, you know what I love about it? All these outlets are like, he bombed. First of all, it wasn't a bomb. He was a little loosey-goosey. He looked a little nervous, but he got big laughs. I thought he did well. But I know a couple comics who have bombed on there, but they didn't write that about them. And they were like definite bombs. So why won't you write? It shows that there's an agenda always. There's always something more behind it, which is weird in journalism because it used to not be like that.
You're supposed to just report on fact. Well, I guess everyone's got an opinion, right? Do you like it? Do you not like it? I did see someone had done a search and so many of the headlines just appear to be the same thing. Almost like
I know
that whole kind of coordinated.
Well, it's the same with late night. Every late night is like, we hate this, we like this. They're all the same jokes. Just that's why when Jon Stewart got the Daily Show and he did like the Biden's old and Trump is annoying or what, it was like, whoa, you hit two, you hit both. That was like revolutionary.
Yes.
And then he got attacked for that.
Did he?
Yeah. Well, people got mad at him. He got some backlash.
What? That he shouldn't be talking about Biden's cognitive decline?
Exactly.
There was the White House physician did an assessment of Biden's health. And he said it was like, it's one of the most overdone topics. Like, is he capable to do the job? He's going to be the oldest president ever that comes into office if he gets reelected. But the same is going to be true of Trump as well, even though Trump doesn't seem, at least mentally, to be the same. White House doctor claims Biden fit for duty after physical. President Joe Biden is allegedly fit for duty following his yearly physical exam, according to White House doctor Kevin O'Connor. O'Connor says that there were no new concerns identified during the course of the exam from the last time Biden was examined in 2023. He claimed that Biden remained fit for duty and fully executes all of his responsibilities without any exemptions or accommodations. He also called Biden healthy, active, and robust. While the results from Biden's physical exam seem positive, no cognitive exam was performed.
That's classic. Well, did you see the thing with Trump where he said something on a panel and he was like, how about that, Mercedes? And everybody's like, he got his wife's name wrong. Oh my God, he's slipping. There's all these articles about him slipping. And then it came out that Mercedes was the name of the woman running the panel. So, but they don't go back and they don't go, oh shit, we fucked that up. And you're like, well, I haven't seen you guys do that to Biden when he slips and he eats ice cream and talks about Palestine. So like, and look, I don't care, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's always an agenda or a message that you can't go against. And I'm fine with the message, but you just got to acknowledge it. Yes. That's what kills me. Like, the AI thing is great proof because you're like, all right, something is going on.
Unequivocal, obvious showing of what's going on underneath.
Exactly. That's all I ask is just to go, all right, you're right. It's happening. back to work.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting when the mask slips. And I think people have just got such a problem with the accusation garnering so much attention and then the retraction being so piss poor.
Yeah, always. We like a headline. That's why they have to write Shane bombs, because it's like we gotta grab them.
I wonder, thinking about Shane getting back onto SNL and going, all right, is this a landmark moment that shows that we've gone past the peak woke stuff and everything's kind of coming back around? I don't know how big of a deal SNL is in the US. I don't know how much stuff's downstream from it, but certainly that guy who went to Apple and then went back, Jon Stewart.
Yeah,
the guy. Yeah, I always get him and John Oliver mixed up.
Both were on the Daily Show, but one's British.
Yes. He's sort of starting to push things a little bit. Bill Maher's kind of always been relatively kind of one foot in each camp, or at least prepared to kind of call stuff out. I don't know, like ultimately, rather than looking at narratives and what sort of desire or what kind of big story or message is being pushed, it's way easier to just look at incentives. It's like, what are people incentivized to talk about? Because if they're incentivized to talk about this one thing because it makes them look empathetic and caring and like they're an altruistic truth teller, people will just do that. By far the easiest thing is to make it either cancerous or uncool or obviously manipulating, to do that thing, to do the forced diversity, to do, and I think almost, who do you know in normal life that cares about that stuff? No one.
Yeah, that's true. That gives me hope, is when you see just, like I remember I went to a thing with my wife's family and they were like, you want a beer? I was like, throw me a Bud Light, you trans whatever. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, Dylan Mulvaney. And he's like, who? And I'm like, oh, you're a healthy person.
Yeah.
You got your kids, you live out in the suburbs, you golf, that guy's living life. And I'm out here like, Hunter Biden, Mitch McConnell. I'm writing all these jokes, and I think all that shit slips in, and it makes you sadder.
Yes.
So he's living it right, and I think we're kind of dialed in to the world and the culture and all that shit, and I think it might be eating away at us.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. What's your strategy for remaining positive? Because you've got to keep on top of this stuff.
I know.
In order to be able to do the jokes and the topical things, but you also don't want to be completely at the mercy and have your brain sucked out of your ears.
I think you got to just be aware of it. You got to kind of go, all right, I'm watching a lot of Gaza Strip stuff. I got to pull back a little.
Is that your relaxation music on an evening time? Some people play a 4K video of a fireplace. You've just got Gaza Strip.
Right. Yeah. I've just got the Iron Dome getting bombed. That's my screensaver. But so I think you got to be aware of it. You got to be conscious of it, and you got to keep it silly. Got to keep it funny. Those comics who go up and just, this is happening in the country and blah. You're like, well, this isn't fun. You got to put a dick joke in there somewhere. So somehow keep it silly and be aware that this is all news. It's all going to go away. The guy lit himself on fire the other day. That will go away in 3 days, which is sad.
Yep.
But that's just how it works. And none of this affects you directly. You go to the gym, you eat your protein, you get laid, you move on.
It's a two-way selective amnesia or sort of short-term memory that the press or SNL or whoever seem to very quickly be prepared to forget the thing that they stated as absolute 100%
I know,
undeniable fact. But then the audience also forget the thing that they were previously vehement about. How many people, I would love to see someone do a study of the proportion of people with Ukraine flags in their bio. and in like, how does the graph peak?
Yeah.
And then it sort of tails off and then, the Gaza happened. And like that was a big drop.
Yeah.
The stock of Ukraine discussions really, really hit October 7th, put a big dent in that.
Right.
And then we'll continue to go along. And it's this flimsiness of people's convictions about things that they care about. Like, look, if you're going to force me to read a 100-tweet thread or you posting about this particular thing over and over and over again, or news stories being dominated by this thing, then have the courage of your convictions to stick about and keep talking about that when it's not popular.
Of course. It feels like fashion.
Correct.
Like, oh, you're still wearing those pants? Those are so out. And you're like, oh, shit. But instead of fashion, though, like, you made Ukraine your whole personality, and now it's kind of faded out, and so now you got to just pretend or hope no one noticed and go to the next thing. Hey, remember Stop Asian Hate? Are they okay? Did they get stopped getting hated? What happened? But that was a hashtag for 8 minutes, and we all got on board, and then it moved on.
I think I've heard someone call it the opinion pageant.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, where it's all about what opinion are you holding and what's fashionable at this one time. You have a team, speaking of opinion pageant, what's your bomber jacket that you were wearing?
Oh, I have a Miss Teen USA vintage Coach coat that I found at a thrift store.
Was that owned by Donald J. Trump?
Did he do that?
What was it he did? No, he did Miss America.
He did Miss America, yeah. No, I just found it at a thrift store, and I was like, I'm buying this. It says Miss Teen USA. So I love the idea of some guy with a whistle and a gut was just like, all right, bring her in. We're gonna win it this year, Kelly, you know. So I had to buy it.
Like in a boot camp for Miss Teen America?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I know girls in high school were like, oh, I'm dying to do Playboy. I hope I can get in Playboy. And then Playboy became this evil thing. So it's funny how much that shifted. Remember the Playboy Mansion was every guy's dream? Like, if I can make it to the Playboy Mansion, I'll be set.
I've made it.
Yeah, and now that's gone.
And now girls do OnlyFans instead.
Right, good point.
It's strange. Like, I think something that with one perspective could be seen as exploitative is seen as empowering when done just at a slightly different kind of angle.
I love the empowering. That's a real catch-all for horseshit. Isn't it? You know, it's like, oh, I'm stripping now. It's empowering. You're like, all right, I guess I got to go with that. I'm a hooker. It's empowering.
I mean, that might be one of the patriarchy's greatest tricks. Perhaps the patriarchy is as powerful as we think it is. If it's managed to convince women that getting naked and selling their nudes on the internet at the price of a cheeseburger is actually something approximating empowerment.
I get. Was that us? I thought that was them.
Well, that's my point. That's the real psyop. The real psyop is that we convince them that that's something that they should enforce between themselves.
Sure. Well, I mean, feminism is great because it's like we want to be shirtless like men. We want to pay for dinner, and you're like, bring it on, sister. Rah rah.
I found a interesting study looking at who pays for dates. So for Gen Z, an age-old question, who pays for dates? Young people tend to lean more liberal on a range of issues pertaining to relationship norms, but when it comes to dating, the idea that men should still pay prevails in heterosexual courtship. Researchers found that young men paid for all or most of the dates around 90% of the time, while women paid only 2%, and they split the check around about 8%. On subsequent dates, splitting the check was more common, though. Men still paid a majority of the time, while women rarely did. Nearly 80% of men expected that they would pay on the first date, while just over half of women expected men to pay. Surprisingly, views on gender norms that didn't make much of a difference. On average, both men and women in the sample expected the man to pay whether they had more traditional views of gender roles or more progressive ones. The findings strongly showed that the traditional pattern is still there. The persistent tradition of men paying for women may seem like a harmless artifact, but in a relationship, some acts don't exist in a vacuum.
Wow. Well, how about that? It's like that old Bill Burr joke, you know, like, women want equality, except for a couple things over here. Like if somebody breaks in, you got to stop him. You got to pay for dinner. If the ship sinks, I get off first. You know, so that's his joke. But it's an interesting point. You know, we all want equality until you got to lose something. You know, the WNBA is like, hey, we should make as much as men. But male models make less than women, but I don't hear any women like, hey, they should make as much as women.
I sent you that video the other day, the highlights from the WNBA. One of my friends replied to me and was like, dude, look at the stands. And the stands are just empty. And you think, well, I don't know. Again, with that, it's not saying that the WNBA doesn't need support. Maybe female basketball players, it would be great if more of them were incentivized to do stuff. But for all of the people saying you aren't supporting the WNBA, why aren't you attending?
Of course.
Why aren't you in the stands?
Sure.
And this is why I've had this idea for ages about how hypocrisy is kind of the perfect, purpose-built issue for the internet. Because it's like, do you remember those games, maybe even exist still on like iPads, where it would be a spot the difference thing? It would be in a touch screen in some pub somewhere, and you'd be like looking between these two different images and be like, oh, okay, so that's there and that's there. And the reason that hypocrisy works is because what someone said or tweeted previously is available for you to see. And then the new thing that they said or tweeted is available for you to see. And you're able to compare and contrast the two. And you say, well, it's interesting because you once said this thing, but look what's happening here. And this is why well, look, you just said that the WNBA needs way more support, but you haven't bought your season ticket to the like W Lakers or whatever for this year. So put your money where your mouth is.
Sure.
How is it that you can talk about this and not care? Like, I saw you courtside at like a Bulls game, but I didn't see you courtside at a women's Bulls game.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. It's dead on, but that's how people are, I think.
They don't like having the hypocrisies pointed out, quite rightly as well. Like, you know, it really shows up the less gracious parts of you. But yeah, I think that's what people are looking out for. They're looking out for, hang on a second, is this person fucking telling the truth?
That's why comedy, that's where comedy comes in. We come into that little opening and really blow it up. You know, like when Caitlyn Jenner turned into Caitlyn Jenner, a lot of women were trying to be nice, and they were like, she's beautiful, look how pretty she is. And then I would go, well, you look like her. And they'd go, fuck you. And I'm like, oh, isn't that fun? That you can just, you're full of shit, and I can prove it. It's like when guys say, I don't see color. You're like, yeah, you do. All we talk about is we need more black people in this movie. This is racist. I'm like, so you saw the color. What if I'm like, I'm black? You'd go, no, you're not. And I go, aha. You know, so again, I'm okay with all of it. You just got to stop lying to me.
Yes.
That's when you start going nuts.
Yeah. How, again, looking at that sort of Shane thing, how effective do you think deplatforming is generally, or the kind of cancellation thing? Because we had, who's the fucking big guy that plays at the mothership a good bit, and he got in some trouble about doing a George Floyd joke.
Oh, yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, David Lucas.
Yeah.
Do you live in permanent ambient fear of the wrong clip going on up on the internet?
A little. It used to be way scarier just because people would really, like, they made a career off of getting you. So it was like they were more incentivized to get you. But now I think going after George Floyd, I guess that's pretty dicey, no matter who you are.
Flying close to the sun.
Yeah, so I'm not actually surprised that happened. I don't support getting him in trouble, but like, I'm not surprised. And also, he put the video up, so you know, you're kind of like,
yeah.
If that happened, if I made a joke about that, I would not be posting that. So there are some degrees to this, but you know, he is a comic and he can say whatever he wants, and people can backlash, and then he can rebut, and that's how it goes. So, but I do think deplatforming is pretty shitty because it's all we talk about is compassion. But what about the guy or the gal, like what's the lady from The Mandalorian, the UFC fighter lady who got in trouble?
Yes,
for
another
tweeting.
One. Yes,
you know, like she went through hell, and then there's like a lot of like suicide talk when that happens. Like they really go through hell, but people go, well, she's working again, she's fine, and I hate that she's fine. Because you're the one who always talks about compassion. So, like, let's say you called a guy the N-word, and then he went back to work the next day, and I was like, he's fine. Well, what about the N-word thing? Like, that still hurt his feelings. So it just feels a little hypocritical to me.
Yeah. There's definitely something about a person overcoming a difficult situation and you thinking, well, because they overcame it, that means that it's not a big deal.
Yes.
It's like, you don't know how much difficulty people went through.
Of course.
To overcome that. So as a good example of this, I'm purposefully trying harder to be more disagreeable in my personal life and on the show as well. Yeah, I've found myself to be a bit of a people pleaser.
Yeah, me too.
Sitting with discomfort, especially on the show, just makes me feel like...
Me too. Why do we have that? What's wrong with us?
Well,
Are we pussies?
I'm in fucking therapy, so I've got like a million bro psychology reasons for why that's the case. But at least for me, if I say something that I know is purposefully going to push the guest or even someone that I'm sat opposite into an area of discomfort, it makes me... It's like toe-curlingly difficult.
Same.
So I understand if you look at... Douglas Murray or Ben Shapiro or even Rogan or whoever, and you go, well, they're able to do it. And you go, yeah, but it comes more easily. Well, actually, I don't know. In all truth, I don't know. And this is the point that I'm making. But if you, people pleaser number one, or me, people pleaser number two, does that, it's like the skinny guy that manages to get muscular. You go, wow, look at what you had to overcome in order to be able to give this lukewarm pushback against a person.
Yeah.
Something tells me that Ben Shapiro's cringe-o-meter, when he makes somebody else in a debate or a discussion feel uncomfortable, is not as hyper-attuned as mine or yours might be.
Sure.
And that's the same as this, well, think about they look okay. So you don't know how much work this person has had to go through
100%.
in order to be able to feel okay. They might have had to do fucking 1,000 sessions of meditation and gone to Peru and done a ton of ayahuasca, or maybe they cried themselves to sleep for 3 months. You don't know. Just because someone comes out the other side looking okay doesn't mean that they didn't go through some bullshit.
And look, it's fine if you want to be mean and be a bully, but don't act compassionate also. That's what bugs me about it, too. So I completely agree. Like, you're putting someone through hell. Like, I know a couple guys who went through it, and Jesus, they're like different people now. You know how the president goes in and then comes out looking older? They're like that. You know, they had night terrors and therapy and all this shit. And I think it's like a biological thing where when you're outside the group, you know, this we're all social creatures. So when you're outside the group and outcasts, it fucks with you. It almost feels like you're dying or something. It's like this panic attacky feeling.
It's very stressful.
Yeah. So I think that's a lot. That's hard on somebody.
There was a conversation I had with Robert Sapolsky, who's this evolutionary biologist guy, and he was teaching me about epigenetics. So I thought epigenetics was total dog shit. I thought it was like the god of the gaps for behavioral genetics. Basically, life circumstances can change your genome, not just change the way that you feel or your memories. They can actually impact you on a genetic level, and that can be passed down. Now, you get perilously close to like ancestral trauma and stuff here, but there was a study done on pregnant women who entered poverty during their pregnancy.
That's interesting.
Poverty is a very reliable stressor. It's a very reliable way to make you it's really ruthless, because being in poverty, it takes up so much of your mental stress that getting out of poverty becomes more difficult. It's a really vicious sort of catch-22 trap. And they were able to show genetic changes in the kids. And here's the wild thing. When your grandmother was pregnant with your mother, the egg that was going to make you was inside of your grandmother. Because when a female baby is born, they're born with all of the eggs that they will have for the entirety of their life. So at one point, there was grandmother, mother, and egg that would make you all inside of the same person.
Jesus Christ. Anyone else hard? This is a lot going on here, man. Boy, the human body, it is wacky.
It is. But my point being that, the stress that people go through, and you're totally right. I mean, those photos of Barack Obama before and after, because he went in, and you look at someone like Joe Biden or Trump, and you're like, he's kind of, he's not exactly looking his best.
He was all going
entering. Yeah. Whereas Barack was this sort of sprightly, kind of handsome
black guy
going in, and then he comes out and he's very lined face and the gray hair is some guys just cross that threshold in any case. Like me and you have got the gray coming in on the old beard. But yeah, I think just giving people a bit more grace, and I find this in myself as well, making a judgment about someone, making a very quick call about, that's because they're a bad person, or that's because they're untrustworthy, or whatever. I'm like, hang on a second, you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen this small thing, and you're arguing for people to give more leeway. Both of us today have been saying, why don't we try and just, see the best in people as best we can. And maybe we even need to do that with the ones that are trying to push the narrative. Schultz taught me about how he thinks internally it's not coordination, it's cowardice. It's just people scared of losing their jobs.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe that. And you think, well, cowardice is pretty bad and it's caused a lot of evil shit to happen.
Sure.
But still, just slowing it all down and being a little bit more forgiving to people would be a good idea.
We do look to like the outlandish, brash people, kind of like Muhammad Ali, in the 60s, like, I'm the greatest, I'll kill anybody. And you're sitting there in your little house as a kid going like, whoa, you're not supposed to be that arrogant. And he's doing it, and he's a killer out there in the ring. So I think comedy has that, where like, holy shit, Tim Dillon just said that. You're not supposed to say those things. Oh my God, and it's fun. Richard Pryor was the king of that, or George Carlin.
How so?
Well, Pryor was so revolutionary, because like you had Cosby, you had Flip Wilson, you had Moms Mabley, but he was out there like, I'm going to say the real shit. I'm not going to walk the line. I'm going to make fun of Whitey. I'm going to say the N-word a bunch, and he's smoking and he's dirty. And then Carlin was like, what's up with this? What's up with that? He made fun of the man, the establishment, and that's what was fun about it. And they got pushback, but now we have the internet, so you can get pushback right to your door. Whereas before, you just got like, a letter from the Catholic Church or something.
In other news, this episode is brought to you by Just Meats. If you're looking for more high-quality, ready-made protein delivered directly to your door, Just Meats is the answer. It's grass-fed and grass-finished beef, pre-cooked and pre-seasoned, and it is ready in 2 minutes. So, if you are, like me, someone who knows they need to eat more protein but doesn't have the time or the attention span to be able to actually cook something for yourself, this is the solution for you. All of their meat is sourced from local ranches across the Rocky Mountains and requires exactly 0 cooking skills to be able to prepare. Just put the pre-cooked meal on the stove and within seconds, it's ready to go. Whether it's their Texas-style brisket, Latin-inspired chicken, or Hawaiian-flavored pork, all of their dishes taste phenomenal. You are not eating enough protein in your diet, and this is a hack that means you can have stuff that tastes great, is responsibly sourced, high quality, and only takes you 2 minutes to prepare. Right now, you can get $15 off your first order by going to the link in the description below or heading to justmeats.com/modernwisdom15 using the code modernwisdom15 at checkout. That's justmeats.com/modernwisdom15 and modernwisdom15 at checkout. I found a study that recently was done. Deplatforming norm-violating influences on social media reduces overall online attention toward them. From politicians to podcast hosts, online platforms have systematically banned deplatformed influential users for breaking platform guidelines. Previous inquiries into the effectiveness of this intervention were inconclusive because 1, they consider only a few deplatforming events. 2, they consider only overt engagement traces like likes and posts, but not passive engagement like views. 3, they do not consider all the potential places users are impacted by this deplatforming event might migrate to. They did this huge study, a quasi-experimental study of 165 deplatforming events targeted at 101 influencers. They looked at Reddit and then manually curated the data and did all of this stuff. Through a difference approach, we found that deplatforming reduces online attention. After 12 months, we estimate that online attention toward deplatformed influencers is reduced by 63%.
So it works.
And on Google by 43% on Wikipedia.
Wow, so this is a really effective thing.
63% on Google and 43%. Further, as we study over 100 deplatforming events, we can analyze in which cases deplatform is more or less impactful, revealing nuances about the intervention. Notably, we find that both permanent and temporary deplatforming reduce online attention toward influencers. Overall, this work contributes to the ongoing efforts to map the effectiveness of content moderation interventions, driving platform governance away from speculation.
Woo!
So we got some hard and fast data. 63% on Google and 43% on Wikipedia from deplatforming.
That sucks for those influencers who were part of this test. They're like, great, now I'm fucked because you had to run a test on me.
I think that they looked at existing deplatforming events.
I see.
So your Alex Joneses, your Milo Yiannopoulos, your Tates or whatever would have been looked at.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's interesting.
I've never understood the whole, it's a Streisand effect. It makes people
more... sometimes though.
But it's Shane is, I'm trying to think
Kanye? He was already huge before, but Chappelle already huge before. So yeah, that you kind of have to have a base.
And you have this leeway as well. And it's all about optics. I think that Kanye's in an interesting position because he genuinely doesn't care. Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to care. And then, God damn it, I was watching the Super Bowl. I even texted you during it. But I missed the Kanye advert.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
I only saw it after the event.
Yeah. Just him on the phone. Hey, I spent $7 million. Buy my album. Thank you.
So good.
And it worked. He made millions on it.
Yeah. But so he kind of doesn't care, as is evident by his handheld Super Bowl, vertically shot Super Bowl advert. And then Chappelle and Shane have got this, like, it's, they gift people joy in a way.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like you guys, I said this ages ago, that I feel like everyone should do stand-up once so that they always have the ability to say, hey, I'm just a comedian. They've just got that as the get out of jail free card.
Well, my thing is, look, you can hate the comic, you can hate the message the guy has to say or the girl is saying, but like, why does it have to go away? Like, why the deplatforming? Why can't you just go, that's not for me? When you're on campus and they're doing like a trans drum circle for climate change, you go, all right, I'm not going to that. I'm going to get drunk, but you're not going to go, we got to shut this down. And that's the part that bugs me, is like, why the shutting down? That's so Trumpian. all these people who hate Trump are very dictatory. You know, it's same with like defund the police people tend to make a lot of rules also. So I'm like, you're just policing everything. It's very mirrored.
I saw there's a house just around the corner from where I live that's got defund the police sign in the front garden, and every single morning I see this, and a private security sticker in the front window.
Yeah, there you go.
Every single time that I walk past it, I think, like, is this a joke?
We need a word for that, like the climate change activist who was on the private jet to give his lectures about climate change. You know, the Republican senator who's like, God hates fags, but he's blowing a guy in the rest stop. You know, there's this overcompensation of like, you got to do this. I'm not doing that, but you got to do it.
So the closest thing is luxury beliefs.
Oh, do tell.
So a friend, Rob Henderson's, repopularized this. It's not his original invention, but he says luxury beliefs are beliefs held by the upper classes that bestow status on them, but incur costs on people of the lower class.
That's good.
Yeah. So defund the police is a perfect example of this. Another one that's kind of obvious is two-parent households have no advantage, or getting married has no advantage for raising a child. So you look at the number of college graduates and people in the upper echelons of society, almost all of them are married in monogamous relationships with a classic nuclear family setup. And the lower classes that may believe this particular narrative that's pushed by them are the ones that suffer, in the same way as you behind your gated community tweeting, yeah, we really need to, you know, these police are racist and they shouldn't be there and all the rest of it. It's like, yeah, but you're not a black guy from inner city Chicago.
Yeah, exactly. I know, and it looks good on paper. Like I saw in California, they're doing a thing where they're lowering test standards for black kids because they're having trouble in school. And I'm like, I guess that's nice because more will pass, but you're fucking them in the future. Like, isn't that way worse?
There's a huge problem in Illinois at the moment in the schooling system. Some huge percentage of kids can't read at grade level, and then they finish high school and they get out, and it's just there's nothing there. They finish like K through 12. Maths ability is way behind where they should be. Reading comprehension is way behind where they should be. You think, what are you learning?
I know.
What are you doing?
I know.
School?
It's scary. Are you following the Roland Fryer?
No.
Oh, this is right up your anal, baby. This is Chris all day long. I don't want to get too much into it, but he's a Harvard guy, Harvard professor. Very, like, the youngest black professor at Harvard to get tenure or whatever you call it. I don't know. Brilliant guy. From the hood, black guy, made it to Harvard, did it, wrote a bunch of books, esteemed. Everybody loves him. He started doing studies on police and black, crime and all that. And he came out with a study that there's actually way less black death from police than we think. And they're not actually going after black people as much as we think they are. This is his study. He couldn't believe the numbers because what we've been hearing for years and years. So he did it. He did it for a year with 8 interns working under him. He couldn't believe the numbers. So he said, let's do another year and do it again with 8 different people just to make sure we got it. And it came out the same way. And everybody at Harvard's like, don't put this out. It'll ruin you. Which goes back to what I was saying about how I'm okay with the bullshit, but at least let me acknowledge it. They don't even want you to acknowledge it, you know? So he's like, I'm putting this out. This is data. It's facts. They're like, it doesn't look good. Don't put it out. They tried to get him fired. They tried to ruin him. They tried to Me Too him. They tried all these things. He beat everything, and he put it out, and now he has an armed guard with him all day long because he's getting death threats. So he's got his kid at the grocery store with a fucking security guard. And the irony of like, hey, I'm just saying it's not as bad out there for black people as we think, to saying that to now needing protection from a cop. I mean, the whole thing's wacky, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong, folks. Don't come after me. I'm just saying this is happening in America right now, and it's fascinating.
That's wild. I've got a friend, Carol Hooven, who wrote a book about testosterone, and when she did Rogan's show, she cried, I think 4 times. When she did my show, she cried at least 3 times. We went for breakfast in Austin. I think she cried twice at breakfast.
What?
Like, she's just a very emotional lady.
You don't say.
It's in like joy and sadness and stuff too. And she'll start talking about her son and immediately start welling up. She just loves her son. Anyway, she talks about biological differences between men and women. Spicy. She was at Harvard. She had, I think it was one of the most popular courses of undergraduates in psychology. I think it was like some insane number. It might have been 500 people that attended this particular course that she did. Really interesting course. And after she did the Rogan thing, and then the book came out, and then she maybe posted a couple of things as well, none of her teaching assistants were prepared to work with her. So these are post-grads, usually doing a PhD or something, and they'll be part of some lab, but you need your TAs, you need the teaching assistants.
Tits and ass.
Because
Sorry. TA. I'm listening.
You need that to help you, because it's a huge class, marking work, and they kind of assist during the lecturing. I've got a few friends in Austin here that work as TAs for their professors, the head of their labs and shit. And that's like soft cancel. She was being pushed out.
Yeah.
How can you do your course if no one will work with you?
Of course.
And then there wasn't backup from the dean, and there wasn't the rest of it. And she's out now.
She's out.
Been pushed out. I'm pretty sure she had tenure, which is supposed to be the protection that you need. And then she was part of this Bill Ackman thing, where he called out Claudine Gay.
Oh, right.
And all this stuff a couple of months ago. But the weird thing there, and I spoke to her about this, she was basically used as a very fortunate political football to be kicked around. See how perfect shows that the woke mob are trying to push people out that say things that aren't egregious, and no one, this is something I haven't really thought of before, no one considered what she wanted as a part of this. So she's already lost her job.
Good point.
But just because she's same with Shane. Like, Shane strikes me as a large, ruddy, robust guy.
Yeah.
And you using him as an example of somebody who went through difficulty with SNL to then sort of come out the other side of it, I don't feel that he's taking that as, you've re-triggered my PTSD from this awful incident that occurred to me 5 years ago. He doesn't strike me. But the woman that cried 5 times on a podcast maybe does.
Yeah, right?
This is, again...
Do we care about people's feelings or not?
Yes, it just comes back to trying to give people a bit more grace.
Yes, there you go. It's we shouldn't be boiled down to this one tweet or one thing we said or one joke we made or one thing this lady did, But that's what we do. And I think we have negativity bias. So we go, this is the thing, fuck you. And you're like, what about all the good I did? And they're like,
No, forget about that.
Forget about it. Shane actually has a great sketch on the fucking lounge. What have you been eating? The lounge. It's horrible food. So Shane has a great sketch where he's a fireman. He saved a bunch of people's lives, and the guy's like, wow, did you just save that whole burning building? The babies, the women, everything. Yeah, that was me. And he goes, looks like I found some tweets from last year. And it says this, and that, and it's gay and whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, why are you pulling that up? He's like, dude, what are you doing to me? And it's kind of a nice microcosm of what's going on, like this gotcha shit. But the guy just saved a building full of people. So
not good enough. Sorry, not good enough.
Yeah, but I feel like are we talking about this too much? I'm worried that
no, not at all. So I've got something I want to teach you about.
Okay, great.
Women are loving men who embrace baby girl vibe and ditch toxic masculinity. Delving into the new trend of baby girl, following Jacob Elordi, Timothy Chalamet, Pedro Pascal, and more. This includes men carrying purses, wearing shorts and sequins, and embracing the traditionally feminine aspects. A man who is a baby girl comes across as sweet, charming, a bit bashful, and seemingly in touch with their feminine side, ready to talk about their feelings or carry a purse to brunch at any point. Heterosexual women, especially Gen Zers, are rusting, which means romanticizing and lusting. I thought rusting might mean something else. After men that they consider to be baby girl. This trend signals a sharp departure from the uber-masculine sex symbols of previous generations, a lady explained to the Post, and men outside the limelight are taking note. I think the definition of what is masculine is changing. The director of Talkify matchmaking service told the Post, some traditional masculine norms are shifting. Masculinity today is not about being a tough guy, but about being honest, respectful, protective, and emotionally expressive. About 31% of American men have actively changed their behavior to become more vulnerable and open with people they are dating, according to Bumble's 2024 Dating Trends report.
Well, I think this is nothing new. Like Mick Jagger, David Bowie, they all went through this what do you call that when you're kind of feminine and masculine?
Like metrosexual.
Androgynous.
Right.
Androgynous. Like, I think this is, in the 60s, guys grew their hair long, and every dad was like, you fucking homo. Like, look at these, get a haircut, pussy. And I think that was crazy then, having long hair or tight pants or whatever. So I think this is just another swing of this. And masculinity is the norm, so we got to go against the norm,
Yeah.
and then eventually baby girl, whatever will be the norm, and then being masculine will be weird, so that'll be in. So
Yeah.
I think it all just flips.
Everyone's
flops.
attracted by whatever looks novel.
Yes, hey, that's a better concise way to say it.
Me and my housemate have been thinking a lot about things that are bitch that you don't realize are bitch. So trying to pick up a moving ping pong ball.
Ah, that's a great one.
Very bitch. Starting
great.
a stopped bicycle.
Oh, yeah, that kind of awkward.
Yep.
Ew, I got one.
Yep.
You know when you close the door and it doesn't close the car door and it doesn't latch all the way and you got to give it that booty bump. I hate the booty bump, but you got to do it. These are great. This could be like a TikTok running series.
Wearing a towel wrapped around your upper chest rather than wrapped around your waist.
I got another one. Standing like this is very masculine, but if you just rotate it like that, it's so much gayer. What is that? Why? It's just the same hand, same hip, but if you flip it, you look so much more feminine.
Doing that thing when you wash your hands.
Oh,
the interlace of the finger from behind.
Yeah.
That's pretty bitch. Zach has one, which is turning around ever. So if you walk past the entrance to somewhere, you're going around the block and coming back in. Because if you go and then turn around, that's pretty bitch.
That's good.
He had one at dinner the other evening, which we were sat outside, and the receipt blew off the front of the table. And we've been talking about things that are bitch that you don't realize are bitch for 6 months now.
This is gold.
We've accumulated this huge, big, long list of
Love
them.
it.
I could go for the rest of the podcast. And I was watching it, and we hadn't come up with chasing a receipt blown in the wind.
Uh-huh.
And I was watching it happen, and sure enough, the wind picked up, and as he sort of, you bend over and and then it goes away again. And he came back over and he went, this is being added to the list, isn't it?
That's a great one.
It's getting added to the list.
I would say applying chapstick can be pretty bad.
Eating a banana.
Banana, classic. A heavy door. You ever have a door where you're like, ah! Oh, it takes all the manly confidence out of you when the door's too heavy.
Sleeping in a blanket with your arms all the way under as opposed to having your arms out.
Oh, interesting.
I think that's pretty bitch. Holding a coffee mug with both hands.
Yes, that's a great one.
Massively bitch.
My wife, she says, if I see a guy with flip-flops, the vagina is just sewn up.
Like those ones?
The tongue. It's the idea of that thing between the toe that really freaks her out. If she's like, it slides, I'll do a slide. But the tongue is what gets you.
Which is interesting because Crocs are obviously the most sexually arousing type of footwear that are available.
You know what my favorite thing about Crocs are? That flap, that little ankle holder.
Yep.
If you put that up, it's called sport mode.
Yep.
Which to me is like, what are we kidding?
No, that's sport. This is look. I just.
But sport. What are you gonna go run a mile with that? You gonna play football?
There is a Croc marathon.
Come on.
Record.
Really?
Yep. There's a Croc mile and there's a Croc marathon record. People can go and look this up online.
I will.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's elite athletes.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that. Do you know what the beer mile is? Have you heard of this? Okay. Well, I think it's technically called the Chunder mile, but you do, I think, 4 laps of a 400-meter track, which would be 1.6K. I think that's a mile. I think 1.6. Or maybe you start a tiny bit behind the line or something to absolutely nail it. And at the beginning of each mile, or at the beginning of each lap, you drink a bottle of beer, I think. Or maybe it's a pint. I think it's a pint of beer. So it's 4 pints and 4 laps of a running track, 1 mile. And this is a very prestigious, in the running world, super prestigious record. Like the guy that wins this, there's an entire channel that's committed to it, and they track all of the things, and there's people and they've got, tactics for how they're going to drink, and it's not just your ability to run, it's your ability to not run and not throw up, and it's called the Chunder Mile, because as soon as everybody finishes,
puke.
4 pints, 2 liters of beer just comes back out of them.
I love it.
And
that's fun.
It's like highly held.
Really?
Yeah.
This should be televised. This is way better than pickleball.
Dude, I think
I do love pickleball.
I adore pickleball.
Me too.
Problem is, it's got the highest disparity between how fun it is to watch,
and
how fun it is to play.
Great point.
There is no more boring sport to watch.
It's like scissoring. Way more fun to do. Watching scissoring, I don't love. But yeah, you're right. And I always say pickleball is like COVID because it swept the nation and old people love it and fat people are scared of it.
Have you played padel? Have you tried that?
No, is that paddle?
Like, yeah, paddle, whatever. I don't know. I'm around some people that are European and they call it padel. But I think that maybe padel's something different to paddle. I don't know. Anyway, I tried to play it over the weekend in Miami. And I've decided that pickleball is tennis for old people.
Yep.
And padel is tennis for rich people. Because everyone that's there has got some nice Rolex on and everyone's like, I don't know. It was a very strange sport, and I'm all for pickleball, and I think the padel can go fuck itself.
Okay, yeah. Pickleball to me is so perfect. I don't want to try anything different because I love it.
Do you play indoors or outdoors? Oh, you must be playing indoors in New York.
New York's mostly indoors, but there's a basketball court 2 blocks away from my house, and it's just been the basketball's over. It's all pickleball. It's a bunch of yuppies out there with little nets going at it.
I would love to see street ball New York players coming up against iced soy frappe.
Right. It's total gentrification of sport.
of the sport.
Yeah. It used to be like this gritty kind of like real basketball court with like street guys.
That's a great skit. If you did it's the pickleball gentrification. It's got nothing to do with the number of Starbucks that you've got or whether or not there's a Chipotle. That's when you know that somewhere's been fully gentrified, when there's a Chipotle.
True.
And then it would just be through pickleball. All that you would do is find different courts to put pickleball in, and that would sort it out.
Yeah, I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, and I used to skateboard back when skateboarding was like a grungy white guy thing in the 90s. Now it's all over the place, which is great. But we built a skate park, and it happened to be next to a basketball court, and we came back one day and it was burned down. And it was kind of like this racial thing, like, hey, don't take our basketball court. Yeah, it was heavy.
New Orleans is hardcore.
It really is. It's a wild place.
We'll get back to talking to Mark in 1 minute, but first I need to tell you about Element. Stop having coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but your adrenal system is, and salt acts on your adrenal system. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium that helps to curb cravings, regulate your appetite, and improve your brain function. There's a reason that I continue harping on about Element. It's a product I've used for over 3 years. Every single morning that I wake up, whether I'm on the road or at home, I start my day by having one of these in water because it really does help. It tastes phenomenal. It's got no sugar in it, no gluten, no fillers, no other artificial junk or BS, and it really makes me feel fantastic. Best of all, there's a no BS, no questions asked refund policy with an unlimited duration, so you can buy it right now, completely risk-free, and if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. That's how confident they are that you love it. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. I've seen videos of you shredding.
Shredding?
Shredding.
Shredding. Yeah,
recently.
Yeah, I was.
You still got it?
I was pretty good. I'm an old queef now. I can't. I'm crackly and stiff, but I was pretty good in the day. That's all I did all day, every day.
Wow.
Very similar to stand-up. A lot of parallels.
Have you tried wake surfing?
No.
That's fun.
What's that?
So wakeboarding is the one where you're quite far behind the boat and you're kind of strapped into this thing, and that's when they do the crazy flip.
Yeah.
And it's super fast. It's usually maybe 25, 30 miles an hour. Fun, but also if you wipe out at 20 or 30 miles an hour, you feel it, and you're attached to this board thing. Wake surfing is much slower. It's like 11 miles an hour, and you're actually surfing up and down, carving up and down the wake that's made by the boat. So you'll have seen people. It's where they're, as far as from me to the wall, behind a boat, and they're kind of...
With a rope.
With a rope, but then you let go of the rope.
Oh, okay.
Because the boat makes a particular shape, wake, behind it. And
yes.
if you're goofy, then you can have it on the other... The boats can usually switch side.
Got it.
So it can make a smooth arc. And I did that. I've been doing that pretty obsessively for 2 years since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah. But I didn't have the background in skating.
Yeah.
And my friend, Alex O'Connor, who is a philosophy, theology, hyper nerd, debates Ben Shapiro and Jordan Peterson and all of these
I know
people.
that guy.
Yeah, he's great. He's phenomenal. Doesn't strike you as someone that would be a master of physicality, but he had this background in skateboarding, and I'd been trying for ages. This is a year ago when he came out. He wore a suit to a boat party, and it's like the true philosopher.
Yeah.
And first time that he gets pulled along on the rope, stands up, no problem.
Wow.
And so there is a skill set, I think, inside of people that did skateboarding as a kid or some sort of balance sport.
Sure.
Dance, probably, other stuff. Put a ball in a paddle or a bat in my hand. I'm laughing, but balance sports, very hard.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there's two kinds of people. The people who want to go straight forward, like skiing, and then the people who want to go sideways, like surfing or snowboarding. And I'm a sideways guy all day long. I snowboard. I don't like being straight up. It freaks me out. Is that weird? I don't know.
I saw a video of the first time that snowboarding was introduced to the slopes of America.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these sort of old granola, grizzled ski guys that were running the slopes or whatever were saying that they're like missiles and they're super dangerous, and they wouldn't let them on the lifts. The lifties wouldn't let them on, so they had to trek up, and then they'd find some unprotected part of the mountain and they'd snowboard down. But yeah, they saw it as it was a travesty to the world of snow sports. And this was only in the 80s, I think.
See, that's how it goes. Whenever something's new, it's attacked.
Yes.
But everything, the car was attacked, like anything new that comes out, people will go at it and they say, this is horrible. Like the self-driving cars are coming. Yeah. Everybody's like, that's crazy. They're going to run people over, blah, blah. But I'm like, they're coming.
There's a pretty good amount of evidence, I think, even now with the data sets that they're playing with and the level of sophistication, which is obviously going to get better as there's more training sets. It's even now, way safer than a human driver. Like there you go. The risk profile is lower. But there's something strange about if you're in an accident that happens because of a person, I'm trying to work out whether there's something more reassuring about putting your life in the hands of other people and yourself or outsourcing it to an algorithm.
Yeah.
Like if you were in a crash that crippled yourself, would it be easier to deal with?
Ooh, good point.
Than because of some bug in a computer code or the fact there was a weirdly shaped cone and it caused it to swerve off the road.
Oh my God, that is scary. Now you're suing a corporation instead of you're getting mad at yourself.
Yes. I wonder, I really don't know what the humans, I guess it's going to change person to person, but on average, I don't know how people feel about that. I don't know if they would feel more comfortable being injured by their own hand or surviving at the behest of an AI.
Yeah. Ooh, that's dark. I guess I'd rather myself, but that's no good either.
Yeah.
It's a lose-lose.
Yeah.
Well, that Cat Williams thing that he said was interesting. Like in the future, there's no police chase because the car will just be tuned into the internet or satellites or whatever. So if you're in a getaway, the car will just stop and the cops will get you.
The dude who lives across the street from me, his insurance for his Tesla is organized by Tesla.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize that you could go full stack manufacturer and insurance company. But the problem is that Tesla has access to the metrics, diagnostics that come out of his car, and they know how close he drives to the cars in front. They know how fast he accelerates and brakes, and his insurance premiums are higher because of his more dangerous driving style.
There you go.
That's why. I'd never heard this story. I can't believe that's not broken on the internet.
I know.
But yeah, if you get your car insurance through Tesla because they know the metrics and the diagnostics of how you drive, and they've got the whizzing around thing to see how close you are to other cars, they know how close you came to an accident every single time you need to get to an accident.
I don't like that. I don't like that information out there. I have a 1973 BMW with crank windows and a stick shift. If you don't buckle up, it doesn't go boop, 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 boop. It's all analog. And I love that. I like cash. I'm not one of these libertarian off the grid, but I do like a little bit of leave me alone. You don't want to be dialed in like these people who pay for everything with their phone. All that shit is a paper trail. I don't like it. It makes me nervous. Too connected.
Speaking about shit from the past, I found a job advert for Ernest Shackleton. So Ernest Shackleton was the British explorer who first went across the Antarctic on foot, unsupported.
Okay.
So he needed a crew. I think it was about between 18 and sort of 25 people went with him. There was a stowaway, actually, which is pretty interesting. There's a great book great book by Alfred Lansing called Endurance, which was the name of the ship. And they leave in 1914. And they actually were due to leave the day after World War I was announced, and they sent a message to the king asking whether or not he still wanted them to go. They were all men of military age with military experience, and, they were rough, fighting, robust dudes. And they said, look, if you don't want us to do this thing, even though we've been planning it for ages, we're not going to go. And he sent back, like, crack on, we'll beat the Germans on our own. But he put a job advert out, and it's one of the best job adverts I've ever heard. It says, men wanted for hazardous journey, low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in event of success.
Wow, I love that.
So cool.
Yeah, now who are the guys who read that and go, this is me?
Apparently he was way oversubscribed.
Really?
Yeah.
That kind of gives me hope. I mean, what year are we talking?
1914. Oh, that would have been probably 1912.
Well, you got to think back then. Like, you ever seen the movie 1917?
Yes.
About the World War I and the British kids?
That's the one that's only got like 5 cuts in the entire
Yes,
thing.
yes. Amazing movie. But they show these kids and they're like, hell yeah, I'm signing up for war. What else are we doing? We work in a mill. I'm homeless. I'm toothless. I'm a chimney sweep. I'm a, just a Oliver Twist, limey, loser kid. So they all signed up because they had nothing else going on. And I think that there's probably a lot of that back then too. Like, adventure? Hell yeah, I work in a factory.
Yeah.
So I think we're missing that.
Yeah, I think so. Well, there's just so many other things that people can do.
Of course.
Convenience and comfort and distraction and entertainment and all the rest of it. There was a TikTok that was put up that I saw by a girl that said something like, you're going to make me, a little girl, go to war. I'm sat here eating cereal in my pajamas for the 3rd time today.
Oh.
And I think, you wouldn't be sending that 21-year-old girl off to war no matter what.
Yeah.
But the subtext is, there are other things that I can do with my time that entertain me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas men wanted for hazardous journey, low wages, bitter cold, long hours of complete darkness, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in event of success. Someone to go, well, I mean, the alternative is to just stay here in Leicester or Manchester or something.
Yeah, so I think we need to teach people sometimes you should go towards the discomfort.
Yes.
Instead of just everything is comfort, like Uber Eats, Netflix and chill, Tinder. You don't have to approach the girl. You can just Tinder her. Everything is getting more and more dialed into less effort and ease, and I think that will fuck us if it hasn't already.
There's a website called Spurious Correlations. It's one of the best things that I've found. So this guy is tracking thousands and thousands of different metrics, and he's looking for correlations between the two of them.
I like that.
So the total rainfall in San Francisco correlates with the number of printing press operators in Rhode Island for some reason.
Whoa.
Like the number of people who die by drowning in backyard pools and the total volume of Nicolas Cage movies released in a single year are the same.
Wow, that's wild.
So just because he's U.S. bottled water consumption per person and the solar power generated in the Sudan,
they affect each other.
This is
wow,
super strongly correlated.
It's like a time travel shit. You step on a roach in 1801, then it affects.
Effect.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the number of movies Nicolas Cage appeared in and votes for the Libertarian presidential candidate in Georgia. And it's that's a tight fucking correlation there.
Wow. That's there's that study that men who kiss their wives before going to work get in less car accidents.
No
That's
way.
a fact, yeah. So there's all this is cool stuff.
Yeah, I love shit like that. There was a really great story in Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep, talking about the impact of low sleep on surgeons and doctors that work in hospitals. And I can't remember what this shift's called. It's like a triple shift or a special night shift or something. And they're awake for this insane amount of time. And the percentage of surgeons and doctors who do these shifts and then get in car accidents and are re-delivered back to the same hospital where they were just working to get looked after.
Right.
The same thing happens around daylight savings. So when we lose an hour, the number of heart attacks, I think, or strokes or something increases by 25%, and so do road accidents.
Whoa.
And the same thing is decreased on the other side when you just give people an hour more sleep.
Right.
And they tested this with college or high school students in a particular town, and they allowed their, I think instead of getting into class at 9 a.m. or 8:30 a.m., it was 10:30 a.m., and the total road traffic accidents in the entire city went down by a statistically significant amount.
Jesus.
Teenagers have a later go to bed and get up time. So
sure,
for the parents of teenagers, you don't have some dysfunctional, broken child. It's just that's the way that their body clocks tend to operate, that they're better at staying up late and getting up late. But yeah, the impact of that sort of stuff is
I love it.
crazy.
I mean, when Uber came out, cities lost so much money because DUIs went way down. DUIs bringing a ton of income to the city, with legal fees and police and whatever. So yeah, that everything correlates. It's all connected, baby. The great magnate. That's cool.
Yeah, so I've got my car now. I did it.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Right side of the road.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I'll get used to it. But I've managed to habituate using Uber so much.
Yeah.
That there's still time where I'm like, I'm just gonna. It's to think that you can get from where you are to where you need to be for $15.
I know.
With a driver that arrives at your house when you want him there, and then he'll drop you off exactly where you need to be, and you're pretty safe. And if there's a problem, you can call an SOS thing, and you know exactly how long it's.
There's no parking. It's like a hooker. You leave. There's no attachment. That's the best part of a hooker and Uber. Is it's over. We're done here.
Have you ever used the comfort thing on Uber, and then you get to select your preferred temperature and your amount of conversation?
No.
So there's Uber X, Uber Priority,
Yes.
Uber Comfort, XL, blah 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 blah, Black, and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is Comfort, and if you select Comfort in certain cities, you can select the temperature and the conversation.
I love that.
Preferred.
Because, let's be honest. We've all gotten in that Uber, and it's like crazy loud music, and the guy's seat is way back, and you're like, this sucks. And the other guy's got crazy BO. BO should be on there, too, by the way. If we're going to do music and conversation, deodorant should be part of that. But yeah, no, some of these Ubers are a little brazen, with the shit they get away with.
Have you ever got in one where someone's had either their friend or their partner with them?
No, I've never seen that. That's hilarious.
That's happened a bunch of times. Happened in London a couple of times to me. Someone's just there, like hanging out with their wife or girlfriend or whatever, and they're just in the front seat, and they're just like nattering away, and you just sort of join this short family vacation from where you're going to where you end up.
That's wild. Yeah, Uber gets a little too comfortable sometimes, but isn't it amazing we live without Uber?
Yeah.
Like the fact that I don't know how old you are. I'm 40.
Yep.
So like getting a cab was an issue. I'm from New Orleans, so it wasn't like a yellow cab on the street like New York where you hail it. It was like call the company, set up a time, pray to God they show up. You got a flight to make.
Yep.
That's insane that we lived like that. Now I Uber 8 times a day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I understand that there was problems and pushback from taxi driver people because it was taking over. But it's just so much better.
It's so much better. Taxis fucked up. They got too comfortable.
Yeah, they thought that they had it all sorted out. Yeah, I really love Uber.
I do too. Like I'd go to sleep at my friend's house, and my parents would be like, "Can you come get me?" And they're like,
Yep.
Okay." Now they'd just be like Uber.
Yeah,
that's so easy.
There's in Ibiza, part of Spain. So the way that Spanish taxis work, yellow cars at night, they have a little thing on the top, and if it's vacant it's green, and if it's taken it's red or off. And the number of times I went to Ibiza like 30 times in the
Are you
space
doing
of
the
5 years.
Ibiza now? You're that guy?
No, I did it.
You can't say Ibiza?
It's Ibiza.
Is it a TH?
It is for us.
Okay, Zed.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Look, it's we're trying to anglicize everything, taking over the country one mispronounced
good point
country at a time. The amount of time that I've spent looking down a road waiting for a car with a green light to come on at some horrific after party.
Exactly.
As I'm coming down from a concoction of mystery drug.
Right.
And just thinking I really, really want. And then if I'd had an Uber, I'd have been in bed.
There you go.
Been in bed staring at the ceiling, hating myself.
Speaking of red light, green light, can I throw a fun nugget at you?
Yeah.
This is why I'm obsessed with YouTube, because shit just pops up. There's a town called Syracuse, New York. It's a real shit box. It used to be like a booming metropolis with like manufacturing, and that all went overseas. So the town's kind of fucked. But there's an Irish neighborhood The only one in the country has a stoplight. Only one in the country that's the green light is on the top and the red light is on the bottom.
Why?
Because the Irish immigrants who moved there in 19 whatever didn't like the British red being above the Irish green.
Wow.
So they flipped it like a couple of street toughs just went in overnight and flipped it. And it's the only one in America like that.
And it's still like that?
Still like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so that just shows people are serious about their ideologies.
I forgot to teach you about this thing. I learned about poor sleep quality is linked to self-defeating humor and profanity.
Oh my God, this is me.
I was going to say, this explains the entire comedy world. In a novel explanation into the intricate ways our physical states impact our use of words, researchers have discovered a fascinating link between poor sleep quality and an increased use of specific types of arousing language, namely humor and curse words. The study, published in Current Psychology, explains that those experiencing poor sleep quality may be more inclined to use arousing forms of language as a physiological mechanism to counteract feelings of tiredness. So they make themselves the target of a jokes. That's more commonly reported among participants that experience more sleep problems. Noticeable relationship between sleep quality and the frequency of curse word usage.
Wow. That's pretty good. See? These correlations are great.
Yeah. But this isn't spurious. This is studied, not spurious. But I think, especially being British, there's a problem. Americans have a problem with you peppering a sentence with swear words.
Yeah.
Daniel Sloss has a fantastic bit about this.
He's good.
Where he's pretending to play the drums and each different part of the drum is a swear word. And he says, as Scottish people, it sort of falls out of you very, very quickly. Whereas with Americans, you are, apart from maybe the comedy world, much more sort of uptight around profanity. There's still a big concern. I mean, I used the C word on
it's a different thing here.
On my
is normal in England.
Yes.
Here it's heavy duty.
It's a real weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah,
there's no other acceptable, unacceptable, more unacceptable, acceptable word. Like after that, you're onto the N word.
Exactly.
You're into real no man's land territory.
Yeah, you call a woman a c***, then it's fighting words.
Yeah.
It's game on.
Whereas you call your friends that in the UK.
Yeah.
It's just recentering the scope of my linguistic usage and realizing what words are in and what words are out and what I can say and what I can't say.
Yeah, we do the F word a lot. It's all a buffer. It's all like I'm trying to think of something, so what's the name of that fucking drink you sell? And it's not good, and comics use it too much. The problem now is the word like. This is like an American epidemic. This is a real problem. You watch like Gen Z and all these people, everything is like. You'll watch Candace Owens or something go yell at a college kid.
Yes.
And they're going, well, like you said like you were eating. And it's like, no, not like she was eating. She was eating.
Yes.
But they fill it with like, and it's so fucking frustrating. You sound dumber.
It bleeds into everything. I had a really great conversation 2 years ago with a linguistic analysis lady, and she was explaining what's going on here, and they're referred to as filler words.
Yes.
So found this out. This is fantastic. So and are two different use cases. People will and at different times. Is knowing what they need to say, but searching for the word.
Okay.
More commonly. And is trying to work out the direction that they actually want to talk in. The reason being, if you were to just open your mouth and make a noise of talking, what you end up with is something like it's that. It's just the noise of, you use a MacBook and it's got that spinning colored wheel. It's the spinning colored wheel of linguistics.
The Mitch McConnell, we call that. There you go. Yeah, perfect.
It's a holding pattern. And like has come in to say it is something approximating this next thing that I'm about to say. That's what like is. But it's also been used as a filler word, and it's taken up both of those, which is why the frequencies increase so much.
Great point. Yeah, because it is a useful word. This tastes like chicken.
Yes.
So now we're going, okay, it's similar to chicken.
Correct.
But everything has become, I was reading like a book. No, you were reading a book, you idiot. You were reading the Quran. Like, just say the book. But it's just a filler. Yes. But you're right. It's a filler, and it's the other thing you said.
Here's a second swearing study that I thought was brilliant. Repeating the F word can improve threshold for pain.
I've heard that.
During an ice water challenge. Recent study found that repeating the F word during an ice water experiment increased subjects' tolerance and threshold for pain. However, reciting made-up swear words showed no such pain-reducing effects. Numerous studies have shown that the use of swear words can strengthen pain tolerance during an ice water experiment. UK researchers Stevens and Robertson set out to explore the mechanism behind this pain-relieving effect in a unique way. A team of specialists invented 2 new swear words with properties similar to known curse words. They then tested the invented words on a cold presser experiment to see whether they would mimic the pain-reducing effects of known swear words. One theory suggests that the swearing produces analgesic effects through autonomic arousal caused by increased emotion. So you're basically distracting yourself from what you're feeling by increasing the emotion inside of you. It's like getting angry and then punching something.
Right.
To explore this idea, researchers chose the made-up swear word "fouch." Selected for its
Fouch.
What a fouch. Selected for its emotion-provoking potential. Another theory suggests that swearing alleviates the pain by distracting attention away from the painful event. Researchers accordingly chose the second made-up curse word "twizpipe" for its potential to evoke distraction through humor. So fouch and twizpipe don't work as well as just screaming the F word if you're in pain.
That makes sense. But twizpipe sounds like a slur for British people. Doesn't it? These fucking twist pipes over here.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know. It's fascinating how language gets sort of used and abused. And I was thinking, as I often do when I wake up first thing in the morning, was thinking about the N word. And it's so... What had I seen? I'd seen Derek Poston doing his podcast, and I think they're playing. It's kind of like Wheel of Fortune, but it's called "Who's That N Word?" And they show.
I did it.
They put it up on the screen, and then they've got to guess.
Is it all black people?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, it is absolutely why, and it's just the most liberal use. Of that. It's the saying like smattering a word with fuck.
Right.
Like, or like. It's that. And I just thought, it is so insane that we have this.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Boundary around that particular word itself.
I know. I blame slavery. It's the only reason that it could be this powerful. You know, because obviously it's silly. I went to public school, and all my black friends would be like, come on, say it. And I was like, I'm not saying it. Like, come on. And then eventually after an hour, you'd say it, and they were like, ah. So it just proves like, okay, you can exist with a white person saying this word and not lose complete control and beat the shit out of me. But it's just something about that word. It's just garnered this. Because people used to say it on the news and stuff in the 90s.
No way.
Oh, yeah. They'd be like, they'd be reading like a police report, and the man said to, you know, and it was just like, you couldn't say it at somebody, but you could still say it.
Reference it.
You could still reference it, and now you can't even reference it.
Wow.
Yeah, and that talk about empowering. That's the ultimate empowering. By the way, another thing white people invented, the N-word, but, and black people took it and made it cool, but... it is empowering. That is empowering. Like using it, only you guys can use it, and you can't. And if you do, we get to fuck you up.
Yeah, it's really, really. When you try and think about it, just from outside of the culture and knowing the history of it and how fraught it is,
yes,
you realize this is so funny that we have this sort of arbitrary boundary that's drawn around this particular word.
And it's so a hilarious word. Whenever black comics use it, the joke is twice as funny.
Correct.
But I have an idea, and I've tried this on stage, but the world's not ready for this shit. So tell me what you think, Thighs. All right, so what about an OnlyFans for racism? So a black guy will be like, you sign up for my OnlyFans, and instead of seeing my vagina or seeing my tits, you can call me the N-word for a fee. I think there's something here. And you can do it with Jews, Asians, gays, and because people are going to say it anyway, so you might as well get the money from it. Right.
So you're kind of like a punch bag for people's racism. It's like a let-off valve.
Yeah. Like, talk about empowering. You read, my friend, it all started because I was bitching about people being mean to me in my comments on my videos. And my black friend's like, oh, are you hurt? Look at me. And it's just N-word, N-word, N-word. I was like, oh, well, all right, you got me beat there. That's horrible. And I was like, it sucks that you can't harness this and get paid, because women are like, I'm getting harassed all day. People are looking at my cleavage. I'll make money off of it.
Yeah.
It's too bad black people or Jew, like Palestinians would sign up for that all day.
The racism.
Yes. Wouldn't that be great?
Wow. Well, I didn't realize. I wondered why on a bunch of different comment sections there was so many ninja emojis.
Oh, yeah.
I had to have it translated by my housemate. I said, dude, what am I missing something? And he laid it out for me.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh.
Yeah, ninja please.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Another friend that I had a similar conversation with, he's got a disorder where he yelps in the night. So it's very common amongst men that are late 20s, early 30s, very common. And it's called parasomnia overlap disorder, POD. And basically, if he's startled during the night, then he'll make a sort of a woo, like makes that kind of a noise.
Yeah.
And we were away on a stag do bachelor party a year and a half ago. We were sharing. It's one of those like the cheapest hotel that we could find in Leeds or Manchester or wherever we'd gone to, and everyone's in a single, like a twin room with a single bed, just classic British stag party. And I farted really loudly. So what that resulted in was, woo! That was the 1-2 punch. And I just remember thinking, like, what a phenomenal issue to have. It's if someone breaks in, you're an early alarm thing. If you've got some sort of an issue in the house, you're the
alarm.
Dog. Yes, correct.
But he doesn't wake up.
No.
So he just gets...
But he wakes everyone else up.
Okay. So he'll get killed.
Yeah.
He'll get killed by the intruder, and first he'll go, oh, and then get stabbed.
But his missus is awake.
Yeah, there you go.
Which helps. So she can watch them come in and do that.
That's nice. The sleep stuff is fat. My brother used to sleepwalk. It's all wacky.
Really?
Sleepwalking's crazy. One time my mom found him naked, sleepwalking, and speaking French at a window. Yeah, because we were in French immersion when we were kids. So he was naked, staring at a window going, je me sais quoi, je m'appelle Mark, or whatever. And so sleepwalking's fucking weird. Because the psyche, it's subconscious shit's coming out.
I'd love to know why, like what it is, or how that even works. Are you conscious? Are you unconscious?
I think you're unconscious. Like he doesn't remember it. The next morning, he's like, "What? Really?"
But you were walking. You were upright. You were presumably opening doors and doing stuff.
Crazy.
It's one of my friends is trying to lucid dream better.
Oh yeah.
So he wants to be able to control his dreams and understand what he's doing, and then doing dream analysis. So he's writing in a dream journal and stuff like that afterward. And I had a weird dream last night about I was late for a lecture at university. I haven't been to university for 15 years. Late for a lecture at university, and was held up by someone doing a photo shoot of horses. And I texted him, was like, dude, can you do some dream analysis on this? Do we know what it means?
Yeah.
I'm not really too sure how I feel about analyzing your dreams as a deeper insight into your psyche.
Yeah, it's hard to tell how accurate it is, but it is pretty cool. You're like, oh, what does this mean? What does it mean when I'm like eaten by spiders? And it means, oh, you're taking on too much work and you hate your dad or whatever. So yeah, that is fascinating. I'd love to know how accurate that is.
It's the original Apple Vision Pro. The original VR, lucid dreaming.
What is that? What are you doing with those on?
I haven't put it on, although I've seen a bunch of people that have got it. Like, a lot of people I know have sent theirs back.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's $4,000, dude.
Oh, geez.
Plus, you need the battery pack, and you buy a special bag for it and something else. I don't know, maybe people are watching porn. I'm not sure. But
must be.
I don't know. The VR thing for me is the one area where it was promised that this was going to be, world-changing, life-destroying technology. And as of yet, I just haven't seen anything like the mass adoption. And someone's tried to say, well, look, the Apple Vision Pro is the same as the first iPhone. Look at how much more developed iPhone 1 through 15 was. And now it's... And I was like, yeah, but I remember when the first iPhone came out and people couldn't wait to get a hold of it. It was itself a useful, revolutionary piece of kit.
And no one sent it back.
Yes. This...
Yeah. No, I'm with you, but I mean, it just feels like we keep upping all this virtual stuff. How long till it's going to be go to a party and it's going to be like, let's just play Scrabble? Like that's going to be a novelty. We're going to get so far technologically that eventually it's going to be like, charades.
Come round to my house and let's hoe a garden.
Yeah.
And, like hit some fence posts in because it's the only thing that's going to feel real.
Exactly. And you're like, oh, my hand is cut. Whoa, how about that blood? This is crazy.
Well, you kind of, we were saying this even before we started, like for every reaction or for every action, there's a reaction and then a counterculture re-reaction to everything. And then there's a group of people saying that the people that are talking about this, they're the real problem.
Yeah,
it's a very predictable sequence of things that you go through. But you're already beginning to see in Austin people say, I'm out. I'm full Ted Kaczynski in this. I'm going to get myself a ranch in Dripping Springs or in Bastrop. And 2 weeks ago, I went to Bastrop to this dude's house. It's a beautiful, amazing house. And it's just him and his wife and his dogs and their kid. And he just wakes up on a morning and goes for a dip in the river. And it's like he's regressed by 100 years or so, 150 years. This sort of agrarian life. And he's got, this is my tomatoes are coming in very nicely. You can see it's going to be a good harvest this year or whatever it is. And I think that this is people doing the whole counterculture thing.
I think so, but could you do that? That might be a personality thing too. Like, I could never live like that.
I'd struggle to be away from people and novelty and stuff like that.
This is nice.
Yes.
Building up your channel, like goals and stuff. I can't just have the tomato. It doesn't fulfill me.
Maybe it's an age. It's definitely a predisposition thing, but the dopamine side of life is still fun. It's just that we're all way overclocked on it.
Way overclocked. You got that right.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go back.
Yes.
Once you get that taste, it's hard to go back to, it's like success. It's hard to go down in success. You really hate yourself.
There's a Will Smith bit from his memoir, which was written by Mark Manson, the guy that did the subtle art.
Yeah, he's good.
He says, gaining fame is amazing. Being famous is a mixed bag, and losing fame is terrible.
Wow, that's so good.
Yep.
So true. And look at the slap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
big decline.
Nosedive to no fame.
Isn't he filming I Am Legend 2?
He is, yeah.
I mean, that could be the salvage moment.
It better be good.
Yes. Yeah. If it's bad, then every single knife that someone has got behind their back is going to come out.
Yeah.
And diddle him with it.
Kind of cool, though, how much it helped Chris Rock.
Has it?
Well, I don't know about mentally. I'm sure that'll fuck you up to get slapped on live TV and the whole world saw it. By the way, that was just such an insane moment. That's never happened before.
That actually happened.
Yeah, that happened. It's real. All these conspiracies, it's real. But his special did better that year than anyone else's because we're all like, I got to hear about this.
Yes.
And it's kind of nice when the country all knows about, we're all so splintered. So when the country all knows about one thing, it's kind of nice.
Right.
That's why COVID was kind of interesting because it was the first time we were global since like the Olympics.
Correct. Well, there was one moment, for 6 weeks from March 2020 where everyone was kind of in it together.
Yeah.
I knew what it was like to be in Wuhan, China, what it was like to be in New York City. Everyone was locked down. Everyone was scared. Everyone was uncertain about what was going to happen.
Sure.
And then very, very quickly, it just came back to, God damn it.
I know. So quick. We will go negative quick. But yeah, that slap was wild. And that was kind of cool for comedy because you had to hear about it. Chris Rock's already a great orator. Now we're going to hear him talk about this that we all know about. And it's kind of like Richard Pryor. He lit his hair on fire and went to jail in the 70s.
Yep.
And he did a special about it. And it's probably the best special of all time. It's called Live in Concert. And he talks about the whole thing, but he does it hilariously. He shoots his car. He hits his wife. He does drugs. He goes to jail. It's great.
It's interesting that you need everyone to have an insight about one thing. It's like if everyone, well, I guess this is one of the reasons why COVID and masks and vaccines and stuff was such a popular talking point because that everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yes, totally.
So the buy-in, if you start doing a joke about some obscure skater that you liked in the 90s, you don't have sufficient background information for it to be funny.
Yeah.
For it to really be interesting unless it's a super accessible story. But yeah, that's the consistent trend. When something happens that's completely global, it's so easy for people to wrap themselves around that narrative.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same as the Taylor Swift.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that. It's the Super Bowl, so it's already this huge thing. Plus the biggest entertainer of our time is dating the fucking quarterback or whatever, not the quarterback, that's Mahomes, whatever he is, Kelsey. And it's like, we're all in on this. Some people hate her. Some people love that whole thing. It's fun to come back and be a country again.
You can bet, I didn't realize this because America's a crazy place. You can bet on anything. You can bet on the coin toss. You can bet on whether there'll be a streaker. Did you see that guy?
I saw that.
Who bet that there would be a streaker and he then struck?
Oh, I didn't know that was him.
I think that's the truth.
Unless that's illegal.
I might have been. Is it?
Well, you can't fuck with the betting like that.
Try and fucking stop me.
Okay, well, I made a bunch of money on Usher because I bet he would take his shirt off, and he did. And I bet
you're kidding me.
Yeah, I bet something else.
Where do you go to bet this?
Did it in the room. But there's all these websites for it. But I did it. It was like a bunch of comedians at a Super Bowl party, and I went and I was like, I bet he takes his shirt off. One guy's like, I'll take that bet. And I made. We're doing cam like a bookie in there. It was great. But yeah, the betting is fun.
How many times it's going to cut to Taylor Swift?
Yes.
Whether or not someone's going to show a Bud Light on camera.
Right.
All that shit.
I know.
There was something about. I swear you could do. Whether the two captains would shake hands at the start, what the order of different songs was going to be, whether there was going to be fireworks, like everything. There is nothing that's not up for betting, which is wild because in the UK, sports betting is something that's completely ubiquitous.
Really?
It is everywhere. There's basically no age restriction apart from you'd need to do ID on your mobile betting app, but you can bet on absolutely everything. It's not as inventive as what you guys do, but we have betting shops.
Oh.
So on the high street, there will be Coral, Betfred. There'll be a couple of others. And guys will just go in and they'll have sport or horse racing. But this isn't like a...
We used to have that. This is OTB.
Okay.
Off-track betting. But it's kind of gone now.
But you have sports bars or sports betting bars.
Yeah.
This is different.
Okay.
Because there's no booze being served. There's no refreshments in there. It's not an enjoyable place. It's purely there.
Those are addicts.
For the act of, it's purely there for the act. And there'll be a fruit machine, slot machine thing in the corner.
Right.
But it's not like this is dependent on state-by-state basis.
Wow.
This is just everywhere.
Are you glad you're not a gambling addict?
Yeah.
I mean, that'll fuck you up.
Of all of the maladies that you can have, like alcoholism and gambling, I think we should all wake up every single day and be like, thank God that I didn't get that one.
Because I know.
I was watching, who was I watching? Dana White talking to Kyle and Bob Menery on their podcast they did a couple of weeks ago. And they're talking about Steve from the Nelk Boys. Mm-hmm. And he's got this sort of gambling compulsion. And I think Dana's got a bit of that he's got a bit of the darkness in him too when it comes to gambling. He regularly bets 50 grand a hand on blackjack.
Oh, Jesus.
And
I mean, he's got to be a zillionaire, but still.
Even he says that for him, that's squeaky bum time.
Yeah.
And
squeaky bum time, the worst kids show of all time. Squeaky bum time.
He kind of describes this state that Steve must get in, and it sounds like it's coming from I know this because I get in it type thing. And he's like, when I called it like rolling or something like that. When he's doing this, you have one job, and the job is to get him out of there. Mm. And you can't do it this way, and you can't do it that way because he's going to say that, and he's going to do the whatever. So he's got in his own mind. And I think that it sounds to me like a guy who has not only been through it and wanted people to get him out of it, but has also had to talk himself out of it too. And apparently Steve had been at this set of tables for 24 hours. And you just think, God, I'm so glad that that's not a pathology that I have.
100%. Yeah. I've lost so much in gambling just with bachelor party, Vegas, friends. You just fuck around, blackjack, and I always lose. So I'm just like, I'd rather save $500 than fuck around on this blackjack table. So I'm with you. So glad we don't have it. And do you have a thing where you're like, this is my one issue that I need to get over?
I guess kind of like phone use.
Phone is bad.
Yeah. I find myself, you'll be on a plane and you'll get it out and you'll scroll and I don't have a signal. What am I doing?
I know. I do the same thing. It's embarrassing.
I think Human taught me this. I used to call it an addiction, but I don't think it is. I think it's a compulsion.
Ooh,
and
yes.
The reason is that, you'll know where the apps are on your screen.
Yeah.
And you'll scroll. It's compulsive. It's a compulsive behavior that has reward attached to it. So it's somewhere between a compulsion and an addiction. And that
it's like a cigarette. You know, the cigarette guys on a plane, they have to pick up the pack and they kind of flip it around a little bit. They know they can't smoke.
Okay.
And well, I guess they're vaping now, but like a lot of guys I know grew up smoking, and when they couldn't smoke, they would just touch the pack. And it's similar. They'd put it on their lip, they'd put it back in, and it's similar to the phone. You're like, oh, there's the YouTube button.
Can't see it.
Can't see it. Yeah. And even I'll just hit it and it'll come up as white and flowy, and I'm still playing with it. It's weird.
There was an interesting study done on air hostesses, or whatever they're called, air stewards.
Flight attendant,
thank you very much. Flying from Dubai to Paris and Dubai to New York, and they wanted to look at cravings for cigarettes. And what they presumed was that the longer time it was from takeoff, the greater the craving would be. So the longer flight, you should see both flights tracking at the same speed, and then one should be able to satisfy the craving, and the other craving should just continue to go up.
Mm-hmm.
What it turned out was that the longer flight had onsets of cravings that arrived way later. And what it reframes around cravings for addictions are that your craving is very heavily mediated by when your next expected hit is going to be, rather than when your last hit was. Now, when you have like a physiological dependency, like let's say you're on heroin, you're going to know if it's been 48 hours.
Yeah.
But with something like smoking, if you know that you've got 6 hours to wait until your next cigarette, right now, you're probably not going to be feeling it too much. But an hour before and 30 minutes before, it's really going to ramp up.
Oh.
So it was all about the next expected hit.
Right.
That was what really determined craving.
Got it.
It wasn't about how long it had been since the last one.
It's how long it's gonna be.
Yes, because that's where the dopamine comes in. They think, I can't wait until I get off this plane. I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to light that motherfucker up. And like that's what they're thinking about.
Whoa, that's good. That makes sense. But to me, when we were sitting on the runway for a minute, and I still have internet, and I like gorged, because you're like, I'm going to be gone for 4 hours, so I'm going to really take it in. And then I did a United flight. You get free text. So now I'm texting people I hate just so they can respond back. Because I'm like, oh, what text have I put off? Let me knock that out. But you're right. And the problem with the phone is we all know it's harmful. It's bad for you. It fries your brain. But you need it. You go to the restaurant, they go, we don't have paper menu. You go to the airplane, we need your boarding pass. You got to pay with your phone sometimes. So like, no other drug is like that. Yeah. It's not like, hey, if you want to do your taxes, you got to smoke this crack pipe. You're like, no. And the phone is such a because it has the balls to have a meditation app on it too. What a dirty move. I always said that's like putting a button on a gun called a safety. Like, what are you doing to me? You're fucking ruining my life, and now you're going to put a meditation app on this thing that's ruined all of our attention spans? Come on. It's evil. They got us. They got us by the balls. We can't. You can't not use a phone.
Yes. One of my friends has a solution. He has two phones. One's the cocaine phone, and the other's the kale phone.
Ooh, I love this.
Yeah. So he has two numbers. One has got email and messaging and social media and all of that stuff on, and then the other one has just got Uber and Kindle and Audible and
PayPal or whatever.
Your basic stuff. So you can live with that one,
right?
But the other one is all of the limbic hijack.
That's great.
Dopamine.
We need that with wives. You need like a wife who has your kids and cooks and cleans and has whatever. Then you need like the whore wife that you can really the freak. Yes. Yeah, the one that you choke
lady
and
in the freak.
On.
Yeah,
lady in the freak.
Yeah,
that would be nice. The Mormons figured that one out.
Hell yeah, Mark Normand, ladies and gentlemen. Where should people go? What have you got coming up?
I got all kinds. I'm all over the road. MarkNormanComedy.com. I'm coming to your town. We're doing theaters. We're everywhere, and I got podcasts. We Might Be Drunk. Tuesdays with Stories. Buy a bottle of Bodega Cat. I saw you had a couple out there.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate it. So it's a whiskey. And check me out on the socials. I'll be offending someone.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, man.
Praise Allah. Thank you.
Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that episode with Mark, you'll love my conversation with Whitney Cummings, who was sat right there. I'm super pregnant. You can watch it right here. Go on. Tap away.